and then bow to my left. And having done so, proceed to request delegates to observe a moment of silence for prayer or meditation. Thank you very much. Just to remind delegates that rules and processes apply in relation to this virtual sitting. I would also like to remind you of the following, that the virtual sitting constitutes a sitting of the National Council of Provinces, that the place of the sitting is deemed to be Cape Town, where the seat of the National Council of Provinces is. That delegates in the virtual sitting enjoy the same powers and privileges that apply in a sitting of the National Council of Provinces. That for the purpose of the quorum, all delegates who are logged on to the virtual platform shall be considered present, and that delegates must always switch on their videos. That delegates should ensure that the microphones on their gadgets are muted and must always remain muted.
Hello.
And to please note that the interpretation facility is active, and that any delegate who wishes to speak must use the raise your hand or the raise your hand icon. To move on, honorable delegates, I've been informed that there will be no notices of motion or motions without notice, except the motion on the order paper in the name of the Chief Whip.
Chairperson.
We therefore proceed to
Chairperson,
the motion on
point of order.
As printed by the name of the Chief Whip.
Chairperson.
Yes. Hello. Yes.
Member Arnold here.
Yes.
My point of order, yes, Chairperson. My point of order is, according to the order paper and where is the EFF has requested that we have an opportunity for more motions. So I only see the order paper in saying motions, and there's only one motion. So we as the EFF has requested that we also move motions in the House, and we didn't have an opportunity to move motions for a period of time. So I don't know why the order paper is only saying motions, but there's only one motion from the Chief Whip. Thanks, Chairperson.
Yeah, the issue really in front of us is that there was an arrangement made that there only be this one motion on the order paper for today. That's my understanding. But this does not mean there'll be no motions in future or in the sittings. But for today, there's only one motion.
Chairperson, can I raise another point of order on what you are saying?
Yeah, what's the point of order?
The EFF, we have requested this year, due to the program that there was limited opportunity for political parties to do motions. That is why we're requesting now to do motions, but I can't understand. You are saying there is an order paper, it's saying motions, and there's only one motion. So why can't we move motions?
Yeah, why don't the Chief Whip to make a comment or two on the matter, and so that we can move on? Because there's no attempt by anyone to stop anybody from moving any motion or tabling any motion.
Point of order, sir.
Let's not have an impression that there's someone who's trying to limit motions, and there's the EFF is being denied an opportunity to put motions to the House.
Point of order, sir.
Yes, lapho
Chairperson, on this point of order, I have to say that the motions was on the program and a request came through on the WIPS group to remove the motions in order for the people to prepare for the declarations for tomorrow. I also indicated that we already have motions, but what happened is the ANC outvoted the rest of us on the decision on the WhatsApp group. So maybe you don't have that information, but there was not a clear
No, I
cut
don't.
or agreed on that. Thank you.
Chair, we do have the hand of
Yes.
Chairperson,
Chief Whip.
can I raise a point of order, Chairperson, before the Chief Whip is going to speak? Because I know what he's going to say. He's just going to say that this is the program and we're just going to continue with the program.
Oh.
But it's unacceptable
Let me
that we
start.
don't have an opportunity to move motions. Because this is a house, a council house. It's not an ANC house.
Point of
Yeah. Honorable Chief Whip.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. My apology that as the chairperson of the council, you are subjected to discussions that party whips should have behind closed doors to prepare the agenda for the sitting with your approval. Indeed, when we approach every sitting, we do so with great caution, not to stifle the participation of parties in the House. And we do not even have the power to undermine the participation even of smallest party in the House. Now, Mela Buskachen is right. She has expressed a displeasure for not having motions. The rest of all parties agreed that we can shelve the item, not to have motions. And in particular, Honorable Arnold, I don't want to create any problem, but we liaise directly with the party whip, which is Memo Kausi. And she also considered that we should not have the item of motions for today. So it's not really my call to want to make a big issue out of this, chairperson. We do appreciate that we've got items before the agenda of this House that we need to be processed. So there was an agreement, and as I say, fairly, Mela Buskachen did express a displeasure that we don't have motions, and the rest of parties agree. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can I just on a point of order, please?
No,
Because
I've
we
not
need
said,
to clarify what the Chief will be saying here.
I'm not given an opportunity to speak for now. Please, Arnold Spears.
Come again.
Honorable Muiman.
Chairperson? No, I raised the point of order, Chairperson. I need to clarify something here because the Chief will be saying a member is not here that can verify what the Chief will be saying now. So the Chief will mustn't come and just say something, and our member is not here.
Let's move on to
Your member is part of the.
Honorable Muiman. Oh, Honorable Nana.
Thank you, Chair. Chairperson, I'm on the
Also,
platform.
let's start with the Muiman. Muiman.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I'm rising in terms of Rule 35 that Honorable Arnold must respect the ruling that the Chair has made because in terms of Rule 35, the presiding officer's ruling takes precedence. So you have already pronounced on this matter. It is wrong for Honorable Arnold to continue undermining the ruling that the Chair has made. And also, we do not want to be subjected to what happens in the Paris Forum. Not all of us are part of that forum. So therefore, I want to urge to make humble appeal to Honorable Arnold to allow the ruling that you have made to stand so that we proceed with the proceedings, Honorable Chair. Thank you.
Chairperson,
Honorable Nana.
Chair, I would want to come on another point of order when we have exhausted this one, unless you are saying you are directing me to press ahead.
We'll comment on this item. There's no other item on the agenda but this item.
No, I had a point of order, Chair, but a separate point of order. I wanted to check if we have exhausted this one so that I can raise my own point of order.
Chairperson, is this now how we're going to be bulldozed by the ANC majority here?
Let me become.
Is this
let
now
me
what
become
we're
a-
going to experience?
Let me, Honorable Arnold, I've not given an opportunity to speak. Let me be more generous and allow you, Nana, to speak. Let's hear what point of order you have.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, for taking my point of order. And my sincerest apologies for delaying the important business of this House. Chair, I would like to raise an equally important point to celebrate, to congratulate DA's Eastern Cape leader, Ngababanga, for being elected as the executive mayor of Nelson Mandela Bay.
Not a point of order.
The
On
2016
a point
will
of
of the
order,
people.
Chair.
Chairperson, can I also raise my motion?
Not a point of order. Are you out of order?
Honorable members, order. We will now proceed. So the only motion that's in front of the House now is that to be tabled by the Chief Whip in the name of the Chief Whip. So I call on the Chief Whip to table the motion. Honorable Chief Whip.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I move that the Council notes the notice of intervention in Northwest Provincial Government invoked in terms of Section 101B of the Constitution of the Republic. 2, establishes an ad hoc committee to follow up on progress in Northwest Provincial Government in terms of the Council rules and the Constitution. Make recommendations where applicable, exercise those powers as set out in the Council rules that may assist in carrying out its task. The committee should consist of members as indicated on the document, the ANC 5, DA2, EFF1, FF+1, and also alternates from the parties ANC, DA, EFF, FF+, IFP, and report, and that the committee should report on the National Council of Provinces on the 26th of the coming year, 2021. I so move, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now proceed to voting on the motion. I shall put the question, and the question is that the motion be agreed to. Before I proceed to voting, I shall now allow provinces an opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 71, if they so wish. Just to remind members, maximum time allowed for declaration is 3 minutes per declaration. Any province wishing to make a declaration? None. I now call upon the provinces to cast their votes. When called upon to vote, heads of delegations must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, or abstain. And we shall do so in alphabetical order. We start with the Eastern Cape. Eastern Cape?
Eastern Cape, I motion.
Cast a motion. Free State?
Free State votes in favor of the motion.
Free State votes in favor. Gauteng?
Gauteng in favor of the motion, Chairperson.
Gauteng in favor of motion. KwaZulu-Natal?
KwaZulu-Natal, iyayiseka emotion, sir.
KwaZulu-Natal, second motion. Limpopo?
Limpopo votes
support the motion.
Limpopo supports the motion. Mpumalanga?
Chief Whip.
Mpumalanga support the motion.
Malanga supports the motion. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape supports the motion, Chair. Aye.
Northern Cape supports the motion. Northwest.
Northwest support, Chair.
Northwest supports the motion. Western Cape.
Western Cape support.
Western Cape supports the motion. If you look at how provinces have voted, all 9 provinces have voted in favor. I therefore declare a motion agreed to in terms of Section 65 of our Constitution. We'll move to the next order. First order of the day. That is the first order of the day is report on Select Committee on Land Reform, Environment, Mineral Resources and Energy. Ratification of the agreement between the government of the Republic of South Africa and the European Atomic Energy Community, EURATOM, for cooperation in the peaceful uses of nuclear energy, as well as the exploratory memorandum attached thereto, dated the 1st of December 2020. I will therefore call on Honorable T Modise to present the committee report. Honorable Modise.
Thank you very much, Chairperson and Deputy Chairperson and Chief Whip and all honorable members that are participating here today. Honorable Chairperson, the committee was last week briefed by the Department of Mineral Resource and Energy on the nuclear energy agreement between South African government and European Atomic Energy Community on the 1st of December 2020. The purpose of this cooperation agreement was to expand and deepen the mutual economic, scientific, and technical benefits of cooperation. The agreement is a tool that will be used to create foundation to cooperate between South Africa and EURATOM in the field of nuclear energy for peaceful purpose. The committee thanked the department for the international agreement with the European Atomic Energy Community and note in this regard that the agreement includes countries' advanced nuclear programs, expertise, and knowledge that will benefit South Africa and its aspiration. The committee was of the view that foreseeable benefit will not only affect the energy sector, but will also contribute towards the economic sector such as consumer product, agriculture, industrial, health, science research, transport, water resource and mineral sector, and environmental. The committee indicated that the consultation process on the agreement conducted by the department was appreciated. However, the committee was of the view that the Department of Health, Agriculture, and Rural Development seems to have been left out of this process. The committee was of the opinion that these departments are also beneficiary of this agreement and should be made aware of it. The department responds to all the questions posed by the members and clarified the legislation emanating from the agreement will be the finding bill, which the DMR hopes to finalize by the end of the current financial year. The department further added that the country will be responsible for its own funding when joint research projects are initiated, in line with the provision in the agreement. Hence, the funding bill aims to clearly define all aspect funding with regard to the agreement. In this response to how the provinces will benefit from the agreement via skills transfer and training program, the committee was informed that the program will be spread across the provinces at various institutions of learning and research. The department further explained that the delay in tabling The said agreement to Parliament was previously, it was more focused on the procurement of nuclear power, not on so much on the joint research opportunity of agreements such of these. This was now changed as over time government realized that acquisition of knowledge, research will greatly assist the process of acquiring nuclear energy and associated industry using peaceful application of nuclear technology. The committee was assured by the DMRE that South Africa has the necessary knowledge, expertise, and capable to responsibly handle nuclear material and dispose of nuclear waste, and that because of the country's nuclear power station at Kuiberg. South Africa has many proven and tested the nuclear protocol overseen by the nuclear regulator. The department also informed the committee that the agreement will be reviewed by every 5 years by the signatories, and that the monitoring and agreement for South Africa will be done by the department, and that the DMR will on regular basis report to the committee on the progress of the agreement. Chairperson, in my conclusion, the committee welcomed and agreed in the proposed implementation plan for rectification on the agreement, including the instrument to address the potential of non-compliance. Chairperson, the ANC support the report. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mudise. We shall now proceed to voting on the report. But before we proceed to voting, I shall allow provinces the opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 71, if they so wish. Just a reminder, maximum 3 minutes per declaration. Any province wishing to make a declaration? None. And that being the case, we shall now proceed to voting on the question. And the question is that the report be adopted. I now call upon the provinces to cast their votes. And when called upon, heads of delegations must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, or abstain. We shall do so in alphabetical order, starting with the Eastern Cape. Eastern Cape?
Eastern Cape, I cast a report.
Okay, cast a report. Free State?
Free State supports the report.
Free State supports the report. Gauteng?
Gauteng in favor of the report.
Gauteng in favor of the report. KwaZulu Natal?
KwaZulu Natal iyawuseka umbiko sihlalo.
Limpopo?
Limpopo support the report.
Who supports the report? Mpumalanga?
Mpumalanga support the report.
Mpumalanga supports the report. Northern Cape?
Northern Cape support
the report.
Can you don't do that, man, please?
Northern Cape supports the report. Northwest?
Northwest support the report, Chair.
Northwest supports the report. Western Cape?
Eastern Cape supports the report.
Western Cape supports the report. All nine provinces support the report. And they voted in favor. I therefore declare the report adopted in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. We move on to the second, third, and fourth orders of the day. And that's the consideration of Taxation Laws Amendment Bill and report of Select Committee on Finance thereon. Secondly, third Administration Laws Amendment Bill and report of Select Committee on Finance thereon. And thirdly, rates and monetary amounts and amendment revenue laws and report of Select Committee on Finance thereon. I call on Honorable Njadu to present the committee reports. Honorable Njadu.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Deputy Chairperson, Honorable Chief Whip, all members, good afternoon. Honorable Chairperson, the NCOP Select Committee on Finance report to the House that Chairperson, the Minister of Finance first introduced the draft version of the 2020 Taxation Laws Amendment Bill, which is the TLAP, and the Minister also introduced the draft version of the 2020 Taxation Administration Laws Amendment Bill, the TLAP, together with the draft version of the 2020 Rates and Revenue Laws Bill during the February 2020 National Budget Table. The Tax Laws Amendment Bill B27-2020 and the Tax Administration Laws Amendment Bill B28-2020 and the Rates Bill was formally tabled in Parliament on the 28th of October 2020, together with the Medium-Term Budget Policy Statement (MTBS). Chairperson, on the 12th of November 2020, the National Council of Provinces formally referred to the Tax Law Administration Bill B27-2020, the Tax Administration Law Amendment Bill 28-2020, and the Rates Bill to the Select Committee of Finance for consideration and report after the Standing Committee on Finance voted it on the 11th of November 2020. The National Assembly passed the bills on the 27th, 2020, and the committee received a briefing from the National Treasury and the South African Revenue Service, SARS. Therefore, Chairperson, tax exemption of employer provided, the committee acknowledges the concerns raised by the stakeholders and the recommendations made. We observe that the proposed amendment in the 2020 Taxation Law Amendment Bill does not take away the entire tax incentive, but allows the exemption to apply to bona fide bursaries and ensures equity across employees. We have noted the explanation given by National Treasury that currently the public servants cannot access the incentive, and since education is a private expenditure, it should be incentive for all. We have also noted National Treasury's acknowledgement that policy decisions can be received if they no longer render desirable outcomes. Chairperson, and contribution to the economic growth, investment, and creation of much needed jobs. The objective of the Tax Administration Laws Amendment Bill is to amend the Estate Duty Act 1955 so as to make textual corrections, amend the Income Tax Act 1962 so as to delete absolute wording to make a decision subject to objection and appeal to enable organization PBO to provide funds and assets to any department of government of the Republic, effect consequential amendments relating thereto, to align provisions to provide that only approved public benefits organizations can provide certain certificates, to provide that audit certificates must be obtained and retained by certain organizations, to align situations where withholding tax royalties was due and payable, but subsequently becomes irrecoverable without even withholding tax on interest, to provide that certain entities be excluded from the definition of provisional taxpayers, to align the wording with certain current processes and remove a reference to a deleted provision, to modify the requirement of intent to certain criminal offenses to affect a consequential amendment. Chairperson, Rates and Monetary Amounts Amendment Bill, having considered the issues raised by the stakeholders and responses of National Treasury. The committee accepts the amendment. It further recommends National Treasury, the South African Revenue Service, and other relevant agencies significantly increase their efforts in addressing the illicit tobacco trade, especially in the view of its upset with the COVID-19 lockdown restrictions and the even greater health challenges that the illicit tobacco trade possesses. National Treasury should monitor the implementation of the policy on heated tobacco products to assess the outcomes. Chairperson, in conclusion, the Select Committee on Finance, having considered and examined the Taxation Law Amendment Bill B27/2020, the Taxation Administration Laws Amendment Bill B28/2020, and the Rates and Monetary Amounts and Amendment of Revenue Laws Bill 28/2020, the report of the committee to be considered. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Jadu. I now put the question in respect to the second order. The question is that the bill be agreed to. But before we proceed to voting, I shall now allow political parties an opportunity to make the declaration of votes in terms of Rule 63, if they so wish. Maximum time allowed for declaration, 3 minutes. Any political party wishing to make a declaration? I see Honorable Ryder. Honorable Ryder.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Chair, if this House had any respect, the Taxation Laws Amendment Bill would be returned to the National Assembly with recommendations to amend it. Sadly, the process was so rushed that the majority in the committee were convinced to accede to the pleas of the executive and the office bearers in Parliament to allow a flawed bill to pass rather than to make a stand for what is right. The details of the matter were well ventilated in committee, but one of the things that this bill does is to remove an incentive which was introduced in 2006 for taxpayers to reduce the burden on the state to fund education. The Treasury is concerned that 4,000 Rand in revenue forgone per claimant is more of a risk than the approximate cost of 16,000 Rand per learner should that learner be forced to return to a state-funded school because of the removal of this incentive. Treasury were not convincing in their arguments and avoided certain questions, and I disagree with Mr. Njadu's point of view that we were convinced by their comments. There was broad agreement, in fact, in committee that the principle itself is flawed, and certainly that the National Assembly had not fully applied its mind and interrogated the implications of the amendment. The NCOP had an ideal opportunity to exercise its powers in terms of Section 75(1)(a)(2) of the Constitution, and yet political expedience and the need for the National Assembly colleagues to go on holiday seems to have won the day. Less obvious, but certainly worth noting, were our sentiments towards ending the Section 12J incentive for investments in emerging local entrepreneurs, especially considering the massive positive impact that this has had on small local businesses and the benefits of keeping funds in our economy as opposed to investors taking their funds offshore. Once again, the big picture benefits of an incentive have been inadequately scrutinized and interrogated, and the incentive has been removed for the sake of comparatively small amounts of revenue forgone. What we are seeing is Treasury tidying up the bedroom to create a good impression on the firefighters while the house is burning down. The scrap metal taxes proposed are questionable, especially considering the international treaties which Treasury themselves pointed out. The issues here are complex and require much deeper engagement by the National Assembly Committee with the DTI, with Treasury, with industry role players, and with law enforcement agencies. Our minority comments have been included in this very well-written report, but we cannot support the recommendations. The Democratic Alliance remains opposed to this bill and will not support it. We propose referring it back to the National Assembly for improvement. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Next declaration comes from Mrana Mletsane. Honorable Mletsane.
Thank you, Chairperson. This is the declaration on the three bills: the Taxation Laws Amendment Bill, the Tax Administration Laws Amendment Bill, the Rates and Monetary Amounts Amendment Bill. Chairperson, I think we can all agree that the Taxation Laws Amendment Bill, the Tax Administration Laws Amendment Bill, and the Rates and Monetary Amounts Amendment Bill are crucial bills for the administration and generation of revenue for the sustainability of South Africa. Unfortunately, for ordinary working class South Africans, they are the ones who bear the brunt of the tax burden, whom, despite no guarantee of a salary increase, can be sure of a tax increase year in and year out. South Africans are the most highly taxed people in the world, with value-added tax, the VAT, now levied at a standard rate of 15% from a previous 14%. The Rates and Monetary Amounts Amendment Bill seeks to raise 12.8 billion from personal income tax, despite the majority of South Africans living from hand to mouth, month to month. The majority of South African workers do not even earn a decent living wage, yet it is these workers who will have to fork out 12.8 billion in personal income tax, as envisaged by the Minister of Finance and South African Revenue Services, in aid of increased revenue collection. Where will this money come from when the harsh reality is that unemployment is sitting at 30%, with youth unemployment reaching a staggering 59% in the first quarter of 2020? Many have taken salary decrease and suffered major job losses this year due to COVID-19 pandemic. Government and SARS have deliberately failed to capacitate tax law enforcement and deal with all forms of illicit financial flows and base erosion and profit shifting activities, which cost the country in excess of 200 billion annually. To deal with illicit financial flows decisively, the EFF General Anti-Avoidance of Tax Bill puts in place comprehensive measures, including harsh penalties for the biggest culprits, the directors of the banks, audit companies, and the bulk of multinational businesses. The bill is in its final drafting stage. The Tax Administration Laws Amendment Bill is proof that government has no feasible plan to generate revenue to the benefit of ordinary South Africans, as opposed to the continuous fruitless and baseless bailout of SOEs, such as SAA and ESCOM. The EFF cannot therefore, in good conscience, support the bills, the three bills, that will dig even deeper in the shallow pockets of South African workers. The EFF reject the bills. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Detroit.
Well done, Member Molatsane.
Agbare voorsitter, die reeds wankelrige huwelik tussen die belastingbetaler en die regering laat veel te wense na. Daar is telkens meer en meer selfsugtige kwelpunte wat kop uitsteek. Section 12J investments, the VCC incentive tax regime will come to an end in 2021. This was a local investment-focused incentive that enhanced growth, created jobs, retained much-needed skills and economic growth in the country. And if it's not reinstated, South Africa will risk losing billions of rands on onshore investment. Voorsitter, hoe is dit moontlik dat die regering belastingwetgewing wat werkskepping tot gevolg het en beleggersvertroue in die ekonomie vestig, nie herinstel nie? Beleggers word ontmoedig om plaaslik te belê en geld word in effek weggewys. Voorsitter, die regering plaas toenemend meer druk op individue wat die privaat sektor deur middel van gewone belasting, hoë dienstegelde en lewenskoste, Nou moet Jan Alleman, wat 'n leeftyd lank gewerk het en tot die staatskas bygedra het, verder aan bande gelê word, ingeperk word, deur nie toegelaat te word om sy of haar eie pensioenfonds te onttrek vir immigrasiedoeleindes vir die periode van 3 jaar nie. Die regering hou op hierdie basis individue gevange en perk hul vryhede in. Hierdie persone het gehelp om die land se infrastruktuur te bou, maatskaplike dienste in stand te hou, om by te dra tot armoedeverligting, om by te dra tot die verryking van onder andere selfgesentreerde, egosentriese, selfsugtige, wraakgierige, korrupte politici wat nie oordeelkundig met die bates in die staatskas gehandel het nie. Baie van hierdie persone wat nou genoop voel om te migreer, doen dit nie uit vrye wil nie, voorsitter. Hulle word deur u party, voorsitter, deur die ANC en soortgelyke haatdraande partye deur diskriminerende wetgewing, onveilige buurte, onveilige land, deur vervalle munisipaliteite en hospitale met bedenklike infrastruktuur, deur haatspraak en veragting gedwing om 'n ander heenkome in 'n rustige rusplek te soek. Nou, voorsitter, word selfs 'n rustige aftrede vir sommige onmoontlik. Die regering moet belasting verdien en kan dit nie net in nie. When will government deal with finances in such a manner that South Africans feel and see that these hard-earned funds are used and applied to the benefit of the country and all South Africans? In closing, tax laws like these doesn't contribute towards social cohesion. It results in an even greater division. Tax laws like these could result in South Africans diversifying their investment portfolios in such a way to divert funds and investments away from South Africa. Government ibakla chelete fela, ribakla husabitsa, riadula monna. The unhappy marriage between the South African government and its taxpayers could result in someone sleeping on the couch in the near future, Chair. The Freedom Front Plus does not support this bill.
Honorable Yunus Karim.
Thank you, Chairperson. Mr. Ryder, colleagues, comrades, Mr. Ryder says that if this House respected itself, well, maybe he should start respecting the House and its constitutionally defined role, and he should start with respecting the Constitution. The Constitution is clear. When it comes to bills that are not Section 76, we do not have the power that we otherwise would with Section 75 and money bills. So he mustn't make out as if we could have altered the bills fundamentally. As was pointed out in our report, advised in fact by Advocate Frank Jenkins, actually, all we can do, though it's important that we must do it where it's necessary, and we've done it in this House many times before Mr. Ryder even got here, what we can do is send a report adopted by the committee to the NCOP House for reference to the NA committee, which can either reject or amend the report, and we can do nothing about it further. We can only amend the bill, if you like, through a report. We cannot amend the bill, so let's be clear about that. And why should we have the same powers as the NA? We are not another National Assembly. But that being said, he's right. All of us agreed. The ANC itself took the lead. That actually, Chairperson, we've raised this with the Chief Whip. It's unacceptable, especially in the context where Minister Tito Mboweni, for understandable reasons, brought the MTBPS a week late. But we've raised it with the Chief Whip. That's why I'm highly bemused, because I've reported to the committee. The Chief Whip was very empathetic. In fact, both the Appropriations and Finance Committee chairs are going to approach all the powers that be in the NCOP that we cannot continue like this on tax bills and the appropriations legislation, that we get it too late and so on. So there was empathy. So he talks about we kowtowed, if you like, to the executive. They put us under pressure. What pressure? I don't understand. Secondly, he says that we are pressure under the executive. What pressure from the executive? In fact, we held them to rigorous account. We, in fact, had 3 extra meetings, apart from which I engaged offline with Yanga Mputa and Momonyat and so on, the officials there. So it's really a figment of his imagination. Yes, we did mention that if there's a structural issue here. Maybe we need to bring forward some of the dates, because what happens is if the NCOP sits beyond this week, we enter into the space of constituency time, and shortly after that is the Christmas break. That's what we said. When we leave here, the aim in the ANC is that we don't go into a holiday. We do 2 weeks of constituency work and we're accountable for it. So let's be clear about that. On the matters that he raises and other members overlap with, the 3 matters. Firstly, I would suggest members, if you care to actually read the report. The report is much more nuanced than Mr. Ryder in particular made out. On the matter of bursaries, we said that, look, there's abuse. In fact, on all 3 provisions where amendments were made, he very conveniently, very glaringly forgets to mention the problems that arose in all three sectors, all three policy matters, some sections of the private sector are abusing it to escape paying taxes. That's wrong. Why doesn't he point to that? So we said to them on the other hand, Treasury, you can't be absolutely sure on the bursaries thing. We went unqualified in our approval of the clause. We said, let's see what happens. And if things don't work out, we want a report done within 2 years to NA in particular, but also to us. We said the same about SJ12. There's a meeting on the 4th of December, which is this week, I think, or shortly hereafter, on the very issue he raises. So on all of these issues, we made a qualified, in our report, acceptance of these amendments, bearing all that in mind, and bearing in mind the very first point made, Chairperson, which is, as the NCOP, our powers are limited on a 75 bill. If it were a 76 bill, on the other hand, we would certainly have had the opportunity to engage more and have more power. Finally, Chairperson, it was unprecedented the number of submissions made in the public hearing. Apparently, the staff say they haven't had this sort of thing for 9 years. Not this range of issues. We had 8, I think, before the oral submissions, and a further 13. The reason for this is some of them came with totally new submissions. They were like forum shopping, thinking they can bring those things. Yeah. So let's have a more balanced engagement. On broadly, Chairperson, we agree we need more time. Thank you, and we'll engage further with you and the other office bearers. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Karim. We'll now proceed to voting on the question. And the question, just to remind members, is that the bill be agreed to. We'll start with the delegates who wish to vote in favor. Please raise your hands and keep them there. When the count is completed, the table will lower all hands to prepare for the next vote. So those in favor?
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Mushodi in favor.
Mushodi will be added.
Chairperson, angazi ngoba kuba sisemakhaya siyabonakala ukuthi siziphakamisile izandla lapha. Siyayivotela ukuthi mayiye phambili.
Honorable Kiva is noted, yeah.
Chairperson Ngwenya is in favor.
Ngwenya is also noted.
Thank you.
Mama Rakhane is in favor.
Marhan is also noted.
Pidla KZN supports.
Pidla is also noted.
Chair, the raise your hand feature, does it still work?
Yeah, noted in Northwest.
Thank you.
I'm sure when the count is complete, the table will lower all hands to prepare for the next vote. Can the table lower the hands? I'm sure they've counted. Thank you very much. Let's move on to the delegates who wishes to vote against. Please raise your hands and keep them there. When the count is completed, the table will lower the hands. Those voting against?
Chair, I'm trying to vote, but I don't know. It's Mlindi Nana. Okay, I got it. Okay.
Nana should be noted. Yeah.
I got it. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm trying to vote. It's Dalen Mitchell, a special delegate from the Western Cape, but I am not able to use the hand raise function. So if my vote can be recorded.
D Mitchell is noted. I'm sure the hands will be lowered when the counting is done. Thank you very much. Let's move to those who wish to vote and indicate that they're abstaining. Any abstentions? No abstentions. The count is completed. We now await the results.
Chairperson.
Chair. Looks like there's a problem.
Yeah.
Chairperson.
Yes.
It's Honorable Nkosi here. I was kicked out by the network. I'm voting in favor, please.
And Comrade Barbara too. Bartlett.
Bartlett as well. Okay.
And Dube, Chairperson.
Honorable Dube.
I had my hand up.
And
yeah.
Special delegate from Northern Cape, Van Staden in favor, support.
Northern Cape in favor, support, plus Northern Cape. Brian, there noted. Thank you very much. Let's look at the counting again. It's 1, 2, 3, 32. Thank you very much. Here are the results. 32 in favor, 16 against, no abstention. So the majority of members have voted in favor of the bill. I declare the bill agreed to in terms of Section 75 of the Constitution.
Chair, on a point of order.
What's the point of order?
Chair, on a point of order, I counted 18 people.
Honorable Labuschagne, can you please repeat what you're saying?
Chairperson, I counted 18 votes against.
It's 16. What
I counted the hands that voted against, plus Honorable Hon Mitchell.
What difference does it make?
Yes, because we have given you a discount of 2.
There is no difference at all.
We give you a discount for free.
The majority has voted in favor of the bill. I therefore declare the bill agreed to in terms of Section 75 of the
And go away.
I now put the question in the The question is that the bill be agreed to. But before we proceed, I'll allow to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 63, if they so wish. To remind members again, maximum 3 minutes per declaration. Anyone wishing to make a declaration? None. We will now proceed to voting on the question.
Chairperson.
Please note that each delegate, including special delegates, has 1 vote. The question is that the bill be agreed to. Those delegates wishing to vote in favor, please raise your hands and keep them there.
Thank you,
Those
Chair.
wishing to vote in favor.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Musodi, vote in favor.
I'm sure it will be added.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
Umkiva, Chairperson, is voting in favor.
Mkiva is noted.
Nkosi, vote in favor, Chair.
Nkosi is also noted.
And Dodovu, in case that I struggle here.
Dodovu's vote is also noted. The counting continues. And when the counting is done, those hands will be lowered. So to prepare for the next vote.
Please note the support by KZN Sibidla, Chairperson.
That is noted.
Mamaragani.
Mamaragani Limpopo noted. Van Staden.
Dube Chair, KZN voting support.
Dube noted.
Mvoko, Eastern Cape, in favor.
Mvoko, Eastern Cape noted. No, I'm sure all hands, those hands can be lowered. So to move on to the next vote. Those voting against should please raise their hands and please keep them there. Those voting against.
Chair, it's Dalen Mitchell again.
Those names, those hands, sorry.
Honourable Chair, Honourable
Yeah.
Chairperson, it's Dalen Mitchell again. I'm a special delegate from the Western Cape and I vote against if my vote can be recorded.
D Mitchell from the Western Cape noted. Any other? Another person voting against who wishes to be noted? I'm sure the count is completed and the table may lower the hands. Thank you very much. Let's move to abstentions. Those who wish to indicate that they're abstaining from voting. Abstentions? Thank you very much. We now await the results. The results are as follows. In favor, 33, against 18, and abstentions 0. The majority of members have voted in favor of the bill. I therefore declare the bill agreed to in terms of Section 75 of the Constitution.
Thank you so much.
We'll now move on to the fourth order. I now put the question in respect of the fourth order. The question is that the bill be agreed to, but before we proceed to voting, I shall now allow political parties to make their declaration of vote in terms of Rule 63. That is, if they so wish. Maximum time allowed for this purpose is 3 minutes per declaration. Any party wishing to make a declaration? None. We'll now proceed to voting on the question. Please note again that each delegate, including special delegates, have one vote. The question is that the bill be agreed to. Can we move on to indicate our vote? Those wishing to vote in favor, please raise your hands.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Musodi, vote in favor.
Shodi is noted. Thank you very much. Any
Thank
other?
Honorable Chairperson, Mamaragani.
Mamaragane. Then there's Mkiva.
And Chairperson, Honorable Nkosi.
Honorable Nkosi, noted.
Sibhidla votes in favor.
Bidla is also noted.
Dube,
Any other-
KZN, voting in favor.
Dube, noted.
Mvoko, Eastern Cape, in favor.
Mvoko, Eastern Cape, noted. Any other? None. I'm sure the count is done. We'll ask the table to lower the hands. Thank you very much. We'll move on to those delegates who want to vote against. Please raise your hands and just keep them there. Those voting against?
Chairperson, it's Dalen Mitchell. My vote can be recorded.
Note the vote of D Mitchell.
Thank you.
Those voting against? Any other? I'm sure the counting is done. We'll ask the table to lower their hands to prepare for the next vote. Thank you very much. Delegates who wishes to indicate their vote as abstention or abstaining, please raise your hands. Those who are abstaining, please raise your hands. It doesn't seem like there's any. We now await the votes. Those who have voted in favor are 32. Those who have voted against are 18 and 0 abstentions. The majority of members have voted in favor. We will now proceed to the fifth order. Joint report of Select Committee on Appropriations and Finance, appointment of the Director of the Parliamentary Budget Office dated the 3rd of November 2020. I call on Honorable Mahlangu to present the committee report.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, permanent and special delegates present here, fellow South Africans, good afternoon. Goeiemiddag. It is my honor and privilege to table before this House a report on the appointment of the Parliamentary Budget Office Director on behalf of the Select Committee on Appropriation in the National Council of Provinces. The Director for the PBO is recommended by the committee in terms of Section 15 of the Money Bills and Related Matters Act number 9 of 2009 as amended, which establishes the Parliamentary Budget Office that must provide independent, objective, and professional advice and analysis to Parliament on matters related to the budget and other money bills. Part of its mandate includes supporting the implementation of the Money Bills and Related Matters Act number 9 of 2009 as amended. In accordance with Section 15, subsection 7 of the Act, which requires that any committee considering making such recommendations contemplated in the Act must do so in an open and transparent manner. A clear, open, and transparent process was established. After receiving a letter dated the 2nd of October 2019, a joint subcommittee representing all 4 committees of Parliament was established on the 22nd of October 2019 to deal with the process. All 4 committees, meaning 2 select committees on finance and appropriation, Standing Committee on Finance and Appropriation, approved the advert with the assistance of the committee section and human resource, and it was placed on the 2 national newspapers, including parliamentary website. Out of more than 30 applicants received, only 9 candidates were shortlisted and subjected to public scrutiny. Their abridged CVs were published for public comment. About 11 submissions were received from the public nominating potential candidates. All interviews were broadcasted live in Parliament channels and YouTube. Subsequently, 3 candidates withdrew from the process before interviews were held, and 6 candidates were only interviewed on the 29th of September 2020. The committee is satisfied with the process followed and that tight and stringent measures were followed on the day of the interviews, where all candidates were kept in the holding room with their gadgets being taken away from them until the interviews were concluded. Sadly, one of the interviewed candidates, Professor Daniel Platjes, passed away unexpectedly within 2 weeks after the interviews. May his soul rest in peace. On the 3rd of November 2020, the recommendation to the 4 committees was tabled in a joint meeting, and immediately thereafter, the committees deliberated, considered, and adopted their respective reports recommending the successful candidate to both houses. The committees agreed that the appointment of the director of the Parliamentary Budget Office be subjected to a 5-year fixed term contract with the conditions of service being substantially the same as those of the top rank of the public service as per section 15 subsection 5B of the Act. The committee recommends that in accordance with in accordance with section 15, subsection 5A and B of the Money Bills and Related Matters Act, the Select Committee on Appropriation recommends to the House as follows: that Dr. D.J. Jantis be appointed as Director of the Parliamentary Budget Office with effect from the 1st of December 2020. Ngiyathokoza ohlele ngaphambili. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Mahlangu. We shall now proceed to voting on the report. But before we proceed to voting, I shall now allow provinces an opportunity to make the declaration of vote in terms of Rule 71, if they so wish. Time allocated, maximum 3 minutes per declaration.
Honorable Chair.
Any province wishing to make a declaration?
Yes, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Honorable Chairperson, the Western Cape has noted the process followed in the appointment of the Director in the Office of the Parliamentary Budget Office. This office is an important technical and academic support structure established in terms of the Money Bill Amendment Procedure and Related Matters Act, intended to provide insights and support to parliamentarians who may not be experts on fiscal matters. The office therefore has tremendous responsibility to ensure that the best advice is given to MPs of both houses to inform committee analysis, inputs, oversight, and recommendations. The director of this office has a particular role to play. The serious duty demands persons of the highest caliber with a diverse set of skills, including the technical skills, the ability to manage a team, to simplify and explain, to encapsulate complex matters, to present to diverse audiences, and to apolitically navigate ideological complexities. While the candidates were all shortlisted through due process, following the untimely and unfortunate passing of Professor Plaatjes, no single...
Honorable Chair, permanent delegates and special delegates present, fellow South Africans, bantu bonke baseMzantsi Afrika kweli lizwe lakokwethu niphela. It is my honor and privilege to table before this House a report on the appointment of the Parliamentary Budget Office Director on behalf of the Select Committee. I therefore wish to support what has already been put forward by the Honorable Mahlangu, Chair. The Director of the PBO is recommended by the committee in terms of Section 15 of the Money Bills and Related Matters Act number 9 of 2009 as amended, which establishes the Parliamentary Budget Office that must provide independent, objective, and professional advice and analysis to Parliament on matters related to the budget and other money bills. Part of its mandate includes supporting the implementation of the Money Bills and Related Matters Act of number 9 as stated. In accordance with Section 15(7) of the Act, which requires that any committee considering making such recommendation contemplated in the Act must do so in an open and transparent manner, as Honorable Mahlangu has put forward. A clear, open, and transparent process was established, Chairperson. After receiving a letter on the 2nd of October, as stated, a joint subcommittee representing all 4 committees in Parliament was established in October to deal with the process. I must say, Chair, that this process began with an advert which basically succeeded a process wherein we looked at the job profile, job description, as well as the whole process of advertising. And as the Honorable Mahlangu has indicated, that 30 applicants were received and only 9 candidates were shortlisted in a very clinical and meticulous process, meticulously processed under the stewardship of all the committees, as I have indicated. And the shortlisting and subjected to public scrutiny, their brief CVs were also published for public comments. About 11 submissions were received from public nominating potential candidates. All interviews were broadcast live in the parliamentary channel as well as the YouTube. Subsequently, 3 candidates withdrew from the process before interviews were held, and 6 candidates were only interviewed on the 29th September 2020. The committee was satisfied with the process followed and that tight and stringent measures were followed on the day of the interviews, where all candidates were kept in the holding room with their gadgets being taken away from them until the interviews were concluded. Sadly, one of the interviewed candidates, Professor Daniel Plakis, passed away unexpectedly within 2 weeks after the interviews. On the 3rd November 2020, the recommendation of the 4 committees was tabled in a joint meeting, and immediately thereafter, the committees deliberated, considered, and adopted their respective reports, recommending the successful candidate to both houses. The committees agreed that the appointment of the Director of Parliamentary Budget Office be subjected to that 5-year fixed term contract as communicated by the Honorable Mahlangu. The committee recommendation is in accordance with the... Come again?
Your 3 minutes are up.
Chairperson, ndifuna ukuthi Chairperson, lo msebenzi wokuchongwa komntwana omthonyama umsebenzi owenzeke elubala bonke abantu bebukele iqela elikhokheleyo kwakunye namaqela aphikisanayo into okokubana uDr. elifanele eliwonga nalomsebenzi wabana awuqhube lo msebenzi we-PBO ubheke phambili. The opposition is not necessarily opposed to the process which was above Dr. DJ.
Time.
Chair, you are muted.
You are muted, Chair.
Chair, you are muted.
Chairperson, I was saying that
please unmute, Chair.
Dr. DJ.
Are there any other declarations?
Why don't you call that member to order, Chairperson?
Interactions of honorable members is
Why
3
didn't you call that member to order, Chairperson?
3 minutes maximum.
Chairperson, why
Honorable
didn't you
Mkiba
call
will
that
try
member
next time.
to order?
Yeah, thank you very much. Any other declaration? None. We shall now proceed to voting on the question, and the question is that the report be adopted. I now call upon the provinces to cast their votes, and when called upon, heads of delegations must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, or abstain. Will do so in alphabetical order, starting with the Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape Casa report.
Eastern Cape Casa report. Free State.
Free State is in favor, Chairperson.
Free State in favor. Gauteng.
Gauteng in favor, Chairperson.
Gauteng in favor. Thank you very much. KwaZulu-Natal.
KwaZulu-Natal yayeseka umbiko sihlalo.
KwaZulu-Natal yayeseka umbiko. Limpopo.
Limpopo support.
Limpopo support. Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga support, Chairperson.
Mpumalanga support. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape support, Honorable Chair.
Northern Cape support. Northwest.
Northwest Sam Chair. Also say thank you.
Northwestern Sam, thank you very much. Western Cape.
Western Cape does not support.
Western Cape does not support the report. A total of 8 provinces support the report. 1 province doesn't. So the majority of provinces voted in favor. I therefore declare the report adopted in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
There being no other business, this concludes the business of the day. And I wish to thank special delegates for availing themselves and for participating in this sitting of the National Council of Provinces. The House is now adjourned.
Chairperson.
Yeah, Pambi.
Thank you very much.
Chairperson, our leadership. Chairman.
ANC is an elephant that you cannot do anything.
Now today. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, leadership. Hey, Weeps, we are the last ones here.
Landsman.
Oh, my leadership chairperson.
I'm phoning you. Don't answer your phone, Landsman.
I thought you were still on the sick leave, man. Why are you on the lock-in? You were supposed to take leave.
I'm fine, Buti. Okay.
Our leadership. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, leaderships.
Yay!